Okay, good morning. Take two, 8:59, so it's 13. Good card. This is 11/8/2020, and this is going to be a divine partnership coaching video talking a little bit about balancing and cleansing and unblocking heart chakras. And I'm starting it with the garden instead of my ugly mug. And the reason I want to do that is because this is kind of one of my favorite parts of this house and shared house, because it's it's a bit of everybody's whimsy. The wrought iron gate was meant to be an actual gate, but it was just a little too impractical because there's little dachshunds here and stuff. So my aunt and I decided to put it in the garden. Now it's a nice little frame for the garden, and I'll get little gnomes and she'll get little gnomes, and she's had little bears and things, and we hang all sorts of stuff out there. My dad got a windmill at some point, just a little one, but we hang it out there, and there's like we make use of all sorts of different things. They're nothing big, but it's fun, right? We got all sorts of plants growing. I love it. This is I keep wanting to call it a nutmeg tree, but that's not. It's a hazelnut tree, and I just love. It's really healing for the heart chakra. Nature in general. There's a reason that it's green, but look at just the way that the branches curl around on this thing. It's just crazy. And of course, somebody put some eyeballs in there, and I've got hanging peppers, right? And the kids have some toys around. It's not too messy, but there's a little bit in there. And what's nice is, this may look like nothing in particular right now, but because of what my aunt and I have planted, there's like tons of different kinds of mint and yarrow and strawberries and things that all pop up, and the kids have planted various different things, and the animals bring different things in, especially over there by the bird feeders. So we'll get all sorts of stuff that pops in, and we have baby bunnies and we have blue jays and crows and hawks and eagles and owls and wrens and nuthatches and chickadees and hummingbirds, bees, all sorts of fun stuff. Butterflies. See, there's somebody made. I don't even know who made that. It's like a little house, and there's the reason that I show this. We're also doing some cleaning, which is also good for the heart chakra. The reason I'm showing this is because look, there's another project, I've been doing some pallet planters this summer. They kind of got thrown by the wayside, but it's okay. They're there to work on whenever my heart chakra needs clearing. It's also good for solar plexus too, but I'll do a different video about solar plexus stuff. The reason I wanted to bring up and show off kind of some of the whimsy, and then also to go for a walk. And I just love this too. Like, nature is so good. Look at all that, just that crispy stuff. And look at this, like, you're going, right? It makes a lovely sound when you stomp it. You remember being a kid when you go out into the cold and the snow, and all the adults are like, it's cold. They don't want to be out here. And as a kid, you're like, but this is cool, right? Just like when you see a puddle and you're like, I want to splash in that puddle, And then you do, and you have fun. And it's small, it's whimsy. It's childlike, it's wonderful. Those are great ways to clear your heart chakra of imbalances. And when you start to do that, I just realized I forgot something. When you start to do that, you start to allow other chakras to clear, and it's interesting because the heart chakra can get so blocked up by different things, especially betrayals, resentments, contempt, breakups, cheating, stuff going on with our parents. Let's see, my own whimsy. Found that for free, and I thought, sometimes I get like my dad, and I think, oh, look, somebody's going to throw that away. Don't throw that away. I could use that, but I'm also very, very careful about it because that can get out of hand. And not everything needs to be saved. That's a funny thing. Heart chakra stuff is like that. I noticed that with my family, because I was adopted, and my parents are a little bit older than, well, a little bit older. They're a lot older than I am, but they're generationally older than I am, which is not typically seen most of the time when you have biological children. Usually we have them unplanned. We don't we don't put that much care into the protection, and we have kids early on, and it happens. They did try earlier on too, so it's not like it was just meant to be that way. It actually provides me with a very interesting set of like multi-generational experiences, because it was already kind of generation X and Y. Like I still remember as a kid when VCRs came out, before cell phones were a regular thing and computers, but I also remember a lot of my life having a lot of those things. And I still remember riding in cars without seatbelts and in the back of trucks and mudding around, and most of the time you didn't sit home and watch TV. You went out until it was sunset, and then your mom yelled your name and you ran home as fast as you could. And then I also remember console gaming getting really big and sitting more at home, and cell phones and just all sorts of tech just rising up super fast. And because of the family that I have, I get more of a glimpse into the 40s and 50s and 60s and the 70s and 80s, and and then ironically my DM was more like 80s, and I have more 90s, and, and then of course having kids of our own, I get to see more of the current generation of stuff too. And that's I think it's part of what's done a great wonder for my heart. It's seeing all sorts of different generations, but like a lot with my family is all about saving things. And my parents were the silent generation, so their parents were the adults when the Great Depression happened. And so for them, like, you don't waste anything, and you got to save everything. You got to save everybody too. I mean, think about how things were politically. We're actually going through astrologically a very similar time as folks did in the Great Depression, and for similar nefarious reasons too. But you save each other, you save things, you make you make sure to use everything at least 3 ways before you throw it away. And that was before the reuse recycle movement too. And that definitely can translate a lot of times to us, their children, as like savior syndrome, saving people. And saving things can be a difficulty, and on removing focus from materialism and things like that. And I say that because it's important to recognize, like, savior syndrome is a part of an imbalanced heart chakra. Not that you shouldn't ever be heroic or help somebody. You should. But if you're trying to save someone who doesn't want to be saved, either they don't see it, or they're popping holes in their own boat and you can't. Sometimes you gotta let them learn to swim, and just have faith in them. But the other part of that too is to take a little bit of focus away from materialism. There is a value in it. Like, don't throw it all away. But when it comes to healing the heart chakra, you want to go more towards memories and nostalgia and nature and whimsy. And like, this is just a weird random spot that's over by the house. I kind of like it. Just come over. You can't, there's a creek nearby. You can't get to it, but you can hear it. And a lot of times I like to think of that as very similar to the heart, and the heart chakra. You can't always see it. You can't always, the ego sometimes comes in and convinces us that it is our heart. But if you just get quiet and you listen, you can hear your heart. And it's not just the actual heart, but that's good to listen to too. Sometimes if you just get quiet and get silent and just listen to that ba-bum, 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 right? Or if you have a hand drum, play it. Play it like a heartbeat. Ba-bum, 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 ba-bum. And you can actually use that to meditate and either slow down or speed up your own heartbeat, which is kind of cool. And you can get aligned with that too. That can be very cleansing. Another good way to cleanse your heart chakra is apologizing. And recognize too, though, that going the other way and apologizing for things that are not your fault, or apologizing just to not feel the anxiety of someone not talking to you that you'd really like.